9.3 KNSI. Welcome to another edition of Taking You Home with VoigtJohnson Real Estate. Every Thursday morning, 7:23, Saturday afternoon, 12:53. Everything you need to know about real estate right here at VoigtJohnson.com. Brandon, good to see you again.
Hey Bob, how's it going?
Well, I'm a little confused now because interest rates are going up, interest rates are coming down. Where are they, and what are we talking about this morning?
Yeah, this time of year, kind of mid to late summer, it's always a good time. I like to reassess, kind of digest what's happened in the spring, where things are going in the fall, and then kind of overlay that with traditionally what our seasonality markets look like and try and project what's going to happen.
Okay, so let's back up just a little bit. The weirdest winter ever, right? We really didn't have one, and
Sure.
and that kind of affected the quote-unquote spring market a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, I think interest rates didn't come down this spring as a lot of people last fall projected.
Right.
But we still had, especially in that entry-level market, over demand versus supply. And
Right.
so that under 300 price point was really tough. Multiple offers, there's still buyers on the sidelines, buyers weighing their options versus rents increasing. So the spring market is still, was still high demand, especially in that entry-level market.
Okay. So how about this past summer? And I'm saying this past summer because, my gosh, we're already looking at back to school. I hate to even think that way.
Yeah. So we've seen a little bit, interest rates came down, early May they were in that mid 7.5,
Right.
and now I was just looking yesterday and this morning, and we're, well under 6.5, low to mid 6s. So they've come
Right.
down a full point. And so for purchasing power, that's substantial. And then you factor in the greater St. Cloud area, the overall inventory levels from this time last year are up over 20%.
Yeah, but it's still very tight.
It is, depending on the types of markets, locations,
Okay.
but there is significantly more, inventory coming than there was even this spring. So you factor in interest rates down more than a point as they were in May, and 20% more inventory, and you've got a much more buyer-friendly environment, as well as if you're a consumer that's looking to sell your home and move up, you've got a greater buyer pool because the interest rates are bringing more
Right.
buyers out,
Right.
and now you're able to afford more, and leaving that lower interest rate from maybe a 4.5 to a little over 6 is a little more conducive than leaving your interest rate of 4.5% and going
Sure.
to 7.5.
All right. You are not a lender.
Correct.
True. Just like you were not a lawyer. You
Correct.
are, in fact, a realtor. So tell me this. We talk about the fact that interest rates are coming down. Obviously, people were betting on that when they bought their home at 7% or maybe even 7.25 or wherever it happened to
Sure.
be. Can you ballpark something for me? How much do interest rates have to drop before it makes sense for a buyer to perhaps refinance?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And the rule of thumb is if you got to look at the costs to refinance versus the savings on a monthly payment. And if you can do that, generally make up that gap or that cost within a 12-month period,
Okay.
it makes sense. Now, there's a lot of factors to look at.
Right.
Like how
it
long
makes sense, but
how long are you going to stay in the home? Like
Yeah.
if you're planning on moving, refinancing isn't probably on the table for
Sure.
you. But if you can recapture that cost within a year's period, it generally makes sense. Then you get into factors of how much lower our interest rate's going to go and all these projection type of things.
Okay.
But I don't know that, and again, I'm not a lender. It's a good question. I haven't talked to a lender about this. If they've started to see refinances at all,
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily yet. From what I've heard nationally, kind of 6%. If you get under 6%, that's when things start to bust loose, is
Sure.
people coming out of the woodwork, and
Yeah.
and we're not there yet. So I don't know that we're starting to see a lot of refinances yet. I think interest rates have to come down a little bit before we'll start to see that.
All right, so right now, if you are a first-time home buyer and you have been paying rent and rent is going up and rent is going up, I mean, my gosh, this is a great time to get into the
This
game.
fall's always a good time. You have the urgency isn't quite as traditionally as it is in the spring, so and there's a little more selection. That being said, it's not like there's a plethora of options, in that entry level, but it's a little more relaxed traditionally in the fall than it is in the spring, and I kind of anticipate that
Sure.
being the case here too. There are more homes under 300 available right now than there were even 4 months ago.
Okay.
So it is a good time if you're contemplating versus signing a new lease or that
Sure.
sort of thing as well.
Okay, so we started off the conversation talking about what has happened in the past, what the market really was like, and then you just mentioned the fall market. Is there, in fact, going to be a fall market? And I would anticipate it's already started.
Yeah, I mean, we don't see, there's still homes sell all year round. It's
Right.
still going to be a busy fall. People, rush to get back into a home before
Before
school
school,
starts.
sure.
Those sort of tried and true market conditions. But yeah, it's all about, a lot of it is just timing. The right homes coming on the market for you. We have a lot of people that are just kind of passively looking, as well as actively looking, that need to be in something right away.
Brandon, are you guys looking at a quote-unquote new normal in that the markets really don't get affected by the seasons as much as they had in the past?
Yeah, there's so many factors. It's not as tried and true as like seasonality as maybe 10, 12 years ago. There's so
Right.
many market conditions that it's a lot more, the volatility is higher just in the market, in the world we live in, that affects things. But there's people coming to the area, leaving the area, moving up, moving down, all of that. All of those market dynamics, changes in lifestyles
Sure.
are always affecting people needing to buy and sell real estate.
And it illustrates the point, reasons to work with a realtor at Voigt Johnson. How do we do that?
320-774-2400 or online at VoigtJohnson.com.
Taking you home Thursday morning at 7:23, 12:53, Saturday afternoon, Voigt Johnson Real Estate, AM 1450, FM 99.3, KNSI.